law firms and law industry and the challenges that you guys face, and how that can be combated. And of course, Ranjit sir will be throwing insights on how we can engage with that. And let's commence the conversation. Should you have any questions, please hold until last, and then I'm taking it one by one.
Good morning, everybody. Ranjit Saraf this side. So, as Bhakti has set up the context for this session, so the legal profession is at an inflection point with AI, digital first approaches, and the never ending demands from the clients. It is the complete change, or there's a paradigm shift in the way how a legal expert or a legal firm is delivering its services, and more so the relevant aspect of documentation, how the various documents are being managed. That is also become a very critical aspect. So joining me today to address these and give more insights onto this aspect of the business, we have Mr. Pradnesh Warke. He is a partner at Luthra & Luthra Law Offices, India. And basically, he has advised domestic and international M&A. He has advised PE community. He has advised corporates. And having interacted with the various, he has interacted with various promoters, CXOs, and heads of the institutions. So he has had a front row perspective on how legal services are delivered in India, and I'm privileged to have him on this session with us. Welcome, Pradnesh.
Thank you, Ranjit, and thank you, Bhakti.
So let me dive directly into the meat for the discussion today. So tell me how typically a client onboarding moment unveils the first interaction when you onboard a client, and then how does it culminate into a successful contract closure, and how soon you start delivering services. So how does that cycle go?
I think, thank you for the question, Ranjit. I think it's a very important aspect in legal practice. Whenever we have an onboarding of a client, right, every law firm would, at the initial step, do a conflict check in terms of we are not in conflict with taking on that assignment with the client, or we are not in conflict, for representing him. I mean the industry, the corporates or the funds that we work with. The first step post the conflict check is we sign an engagement letter. Engagement letter is nothing but a contract between us and the client, which states that what services will be rendered, what is the scope of work, what will be the number of hours that will be spent on it, is it a lump sum fee or is it an hourly billing. So it's a contract between the client and the law firm, or the client and the partner, which enumerates the terms and conditions basis that engagement will operate. And that is signed and executed by both the authorized signatories, and that is how you onboard a client on the first go.
Okay. So the very basic aspect of this journey being digital first and enabled with technology. So the contract or the letter of agreement that is getting signed, it needs to be, as in it should secure both the parties' interest, right?
Yes.
And it should be recognizable as evidence if it leads to any kind of relevant requirements. So how do you propose to address these kind of requirements, making it a legally acceptable document?
See, it's a full-fledged contract, engagement letter between the client and the law firm or the partner. We put in all the terms, including there is a governing law jurisdiction if there is any particular dispute in terms of the engagement. On larger scales, on larger deals, M&A deals, there is also insurance taken. If there is really high value, contracts in which the fees are very high value. So these are very important contracts, and therefore it is important that authorized signatories, proper people who are authorized to sign on behalf of the corporate or the client, and also on behalf of the law firm, are signing those documents. So tomorrow there is enforceability, and these signatures are extremely important, that they are authentic, and there is no ambiguity or there is no confusion in terms of these contracts when they are executed.
So we are moving ahead from wet signatures to a digital signature, and digital signatures are acceptable in this signing.
So I think more and more we have seen, I think from very basic, from say a PDF signature to someone from digital signature to using DSCs. I think there has been a long journey in terms of how do you authenticate a signature, and I think we have seen a few companies also come up with this solution. I think it's a very important solution, and I'll give you an example why. Because lately I faced this issue. Right, I was in Delhi for an assignment, and I primarily am based in Mumbai, right? My office, my team sits in Mumbai. And we wanted to sort of execute an engagement letter where I was supposed to sign it, right? I'm the authorized signatory. Unfortunately, I was not present, right? But the work was important. It had to, get initiated and started very soon. So someone from my Delhi office had to bring in physical papers to my, hotel, and then I had to sign those documents, get them, send them back, get them scanned, and so on. So I think there was a lot of physical hassle to it, and therefore I think to avoid these kind of circumstances, I think it's very important that we use some of these digital signatures, or which are authenticated, right? Because it's an important contract between.
Correct.
So I think that journey is moving in the right direction, which saves time, because time is the most valuable thing, right? At the end of the day, yeah.
So this is where I feel Protean's eSign Pro solution, which allows you to create a digital workflow. So the back office or the operations team at your end, which takes care of the contract and the paperwork, they could send out the invitations for signing the document to you as well, the counterparty who is entering into the agreement with you. And it could go to that person on his WhatsApp as a link, or it could go to the person on his email as a link. And it's a mobile first approach. He can click on the link, open the document, and choose whichever signing method he wants to sign with, and sign the document then and there. And he can also have a copy for his own reference. So imagine the trouble that you went through when you were in an offline mode, versus how this can get closed within a couple of minutes. So this is the flexibility that the eSign Pro solution brings to the fore. And as we dig into the session further, we will understand what are the specific nuances of the legal business which can be addressed through the solution.
Excellent.
So having addressed the first aspect about the client onboarding moment, the next is we all imagine a legal engagement as a deal closing room where there are lots of papers lying around, legal associates and the partners reading through all the documents, and then multiple people. And now the scenario has panned out. There could be a partner in Delhi, your counterparty could be in Mumbai, some promoter who is sitting out of Bangalore, and it's a multi-party scenario. And all of them have to be on the same page, and you have to conclude signing of a document. So how do you see this multi-party, multi-people signing experience going through?
No, I think this is again one of the most important aspects, right? Because when we do these deals, transactions, and especially when they're multi-party, right? Maybe on the infrastructure side, on the financing side, or private equity, when we do, and there are multiple shareholders. The general practice right now is that each signatory, right, will sign one page, right? And then if there are 10, there are 10 pages with people signing each of them, and those are scanned and then compiled together to a document. One, it obviously wastes a lot of space. It wastes papers across the documents, and we don't sign one document, right? There are transaction documents, right? There are barrage of documents and which need to be signed and executed. Again, there can be a multi-jurisdiction issue, right? We can have a US investor, we can have a US, Singapore, Hong Kong investor investing into India, right? In India itself, you could have multiple shareholders who are in multiple cities. I think if we have a solution, right, like how we are discussing right now, where probably everyone can do a digital authenticated signing, right? I think we'll solve wasting of papers. Time lag, time differences won't be an issue, because we sign, courier, scan, someone is available, someone is not available. I think we will minimize a lot of these issues when it comes to execution of transaction documents. And if there is no ambiguity in terms of who's signing the document, right, or who is the right or the authorized signatory, then I think that's a solution that the industry will welcome with, will really welcome it.
Okay. Because again, this requirement, the industry, the nascent need of the industry, this is exactly addressed by the eSign Pro solution. What it does is allows you to create a signing request for multi-party and multiple people, and you can define the sequence, and you can define on the page at which location should the sign be. And you can also define if it's a virtual sign or it's a Aadhaar verified sign. So many configurable features. This give you the complete freedom of signing multiple pages. You just have to define one signature and define the position or the coordinates where that sign needs to be placed, and it can be placed throughout, and it can follow the sequence also. And again, everything configurable from your operational end. So imagine there are 3 signers, and all 3 could sign together, all 3 could sign sequentially, or if only 2 have signed, the workflow could end. You don't need to wait for the 3rd to sign. So all these kind of configurations are there which help you execute the document professionally in a faster way and compliant with the IT Act, so that it can be provided as an evidence if required in the court.
No, excellent. I think it's a very good solution, and these transactions are very time bound.
Correct.
I think that can be very effective.
Correct. Further, it brings to one critical point that a firm like yours, you offer services across several, I can say, verticals, maybe merger and acquisition, banking and finance, real estate, disputes, tax. So there are again a single client could take services from these different verticals also. Different partners are handling different clients. There could be a conflict of interest. So do you see a requirement that whatever documents are getting executed in one vertical should not be visible to the other guy or other partner from other vertical? So sort of a Chinese wall should exist between. So what's your view on that?
See, as I initially told you, there are a lot of conflict checks which take place, right? Most of these conflict checks are also with respect to trying to understand whether we have represented the client earlier, whether there is some litigation or something that is against that we have taken up, or we are advising a client who probably has an interest, right? So from those perspectives, and even from client confidentiality perspective, right? If a partner, right, is an expert in a particular sector, then it is very common that they will probably advise couple of competitors, right? Like suppose a banking partner is going to advise, say, 10 banks, right? Though they are competitors with each other, right? Like I think I have a life science and healthcare practice, right? In that practice, we do advise a lot of pharma and medical device companies, and some of them there could be that they are competitors. So it's very important that we create these Chinese walls. It's very important that each client information and confidentiality is maintained at the highest level, right? There is no, I don't think that we compromise on that at all, including there is no access given to our associates to even Google or Google Docs, right? The entire ecosystem stays within the firms, and the Chinese walls are created. The associates or the partners who work on a particular mandate or a particular folder, right? They only have the right to access it. Everyone cannot go and visibly take a peek at those confidential documents. And there are layers and layers built within the system, right? Because confidentiality is very important.
Great. This is just a validation of how our product managers have been thinking forward, and these are the exact features that we have tried to incorporate into the solutions. So what we do here is, once we partner with a client and we decide upon the deployment for the solution for the client, we understand if he needs a multi-tenant kind of a system where each tenant is his own each business function, or each vertical which should ideally operate silo or in a logical silo, but the operational aspect should allow one single user to view the entire dashboard or the metrics. So that could be the managing director or the senior partners who could get a view of what's happening across all the verticals, and then specific vertical heads could view only what's happening in their verticals. So this is a complete solution that is available on eSign Pro and can be configured. So it's a validation of the thinking of my product manager. Further, how do you see the impact of artificial intelligence and AI? because what we have seen is AI is all pervasive. There are so many open network LLMs available over the internet, and everybody is trying to solve, right from student to a octogenarian at a home. Everybody is trying to use it. How safe are the open AI LLMs, and how much do you restrict your internal users from putting documents on? Because what we are trying to understand here is, in the end, it's a document execution platform. And AI is a tool which can be used to simplify how you do the work. Now, the moment we use an internet, over the internet AI from open tools, there is a risk of document exposed to the external world. So, how do you mitigate all these aspects?
So I think it's a very interesting question. I think even in law firms, right, the way we deal right now, we are trying to adopt to AI, right? We are trying to see how AI helps us, assists us, or in our day-to-day operations, or working with the clients, or working on documents and all of that. I think there is a huge learning curve at this point in time. Maybe the West has adopted it faster. They probably have better tools than us. In India, I think as I mentioned, confidentiality is an extremely important aspect of what we do, right, as lawyers. And clients also want to understand, right, how are we executing the transaction? What is the expertise? What are the tools that we use? I think AI is definitely bringing in a lot of, maybe it might assist us going forward. The industry is also transitioning towards it. There are tools available. We have been, taking few licenses. We have tried them. We are trying more and more tools. How will they impact us? How should we work with them? Are they better to create drafts, first level of drafts? But what is the knowledge that the AI tool itself has to create the customized drafts that we require, or do we just take the first cut of drafts, which are standard, right? Because I think standard, where the value or the valuable input that a law firm or a partner can put in is on the niche and the customization between the parties and the negotiations for the transaction. And from those perspective, I think maybe it's a little bit long for the AI to come in and help us at this point, but I see AI coming and doing things like standardization of documents, document management, workflow, assignment of rights, of who is accessing, who is not accessing, and maybe so on and so forth in the assistance at this point in time. But definitely, AI is something that you cannot avoid. You cannot go past it, at least for now, unless there is something better which comes in. But it's a very important aspect. And I think industry is looking at it in a very positive way.
Okay. Because given the impact and the speed at which AI is advancing, so we have also embraced AI to a large extent on our solutions. So we started with simpler things like summary of the document. So imagine your counterparty is to sign the agreement. Now he is a CXO who is traveling, multitasking. He is browsing on his mobile device. So reading that entire 60-page document on the mobile device before signing may be a challenge for him. So what if there is an AI summary of the document? So we pre-configure the AI tool to pick up all the critical aspects of that document and summarize those. So while the document is available for him to browse and see at the background, he can still on the foreground summarize, view the summary, AI summary of the document, understand what all are the critical aspects of that document. And once he is in sync with those and he accepts those understandings, he can simply go ahead and sign the document. So this is a very simple use of AI which summarizes the key aspects of the document. And then comes the complex part where imagine you send the first draft for closure with the counterparty, and there is a legal person at their end and he also wants to review the document. So this is called as a AI-led document collaboration. And this is where your first draft gets reviewed by the person at the counterparty end. He may want to mark it to another SME within his team to validate certain clauses. So he loops that person into the workflow, and then the workflow moves on, and the document gets exchanged between two parties, and there's a complete summary of what's happening. The document formats are maintained, and this is that document collaboration tool which we